Wow. This club is quite something. I cannot take one night off. Not one night. Not one night. I tried my very best. I was even going to take a nap. I was going to take a nap. How dare I for even thinking for a second, for a millisecond, for a moment that I could take a damn nap? Who do I think I am? Honestly, I was lying in bed and I look at my phone because I have to check for the news. I have to check for the updates. I have to check to see what's going on because you never know when something's going to happen. And I put out a video this morning saying that it was time to sack him. And I never really thought it was going to happen, but I just wanted to make myself emphatically clear. And I go online to Twitter to see that this guy has actually been sacked. Sleep with one eye open, ladies and gentlemen, as Chelsea fans. It's insane. He's actually been sacked. And I don't really know how to feel. I thought to myself, there's absolutely no point trying to do a video for this. I haven't got all of the information yet. I'm going through it as you're going through it. I saw this was announced about 20 minutes ago. And I thought to myself, I have to do this live because I can't really believe what I've read, really, when I've gone on Twitter. Chelsea Football Club have announced that they've sacked Graham Potter. There is a statement that I'm going to go through. You may have already read it. I've not even read it yet. I haven't tweeted. I haven't done anything apart from set this up and come straight here to talk to you because I can't believe it. And it's one of those things where I really thought with some of those reports I saw this morning that he was just going to go over to the Liverpool game and get another couple of opportunities at a bare minimum. The trust that they seem to have in him is just so deep, so rooted within. But today, they have humbled themselves. They really have. And it took big kahunas to do what they just did, which is sack this manager. Don't underplay it because it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing that we've had to sack this manager within the space of the same season that we hired him. It is embarrassing. And it's not something that I celebrate. It's not something that I champion. I'm relieved. I'm pretty shocked, but I'm relieved because it's finally over. Because I didn't enjoy watching him go through this. He looked out of his depth. Every single game that went past, it was just getting worse and worse. The decision-making was getting more and more confusing, more and more screwed. And it wasn't enjoyable to watch. And it's killing me slowly to have to watch this team. So it is a relief, but I don't know the exit clause, how much we have to pay. I'm sure that will all come out as I'm on live, maybe all of the information. I'm absolutely stunned, people. Absolutely stunned. I can't quite believe that we've actually gone through with it. But it had to be done. Make no mistake, we're 11th in the Premier League. I was wondering where the standards were for this club now under new ownership. I didn't know where the standards were. We're in the unknown. And Todd Bowie, I kept saying, this guy, he wants longevity, he wants stability, he wants a manager who can, last the test of time and build something sustainable. And I had no idea where his standards were. I didn't know what his plan was in terms of this manager. Was he going to just let him take us into God knows where? You know what I mean? Right into the deep depths of the Premier League table. It doesn't get much worse than where we are right now. Because if you go anywhere below where we're currently sat, you actually end up in a relegation battle, like legitly. People have laughed because I've talked about this 40 points. If he had been in charge from the start of the season, on average, by the points that he accumulates, we would be in a relegation battle. We would be right down there. A lot of the points that we've accumulated is actually from Tuchel, a decent portion of them. He would have us in a relegation battle. So I'm glad it hasn't come to that. I'm glad it hasn't come to that where we actually needed to be in a relegation battle for him to go. And I'm glad that it's over. But I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. Now, I'm going to go through the statement. We'll talk about alternatives and whatnot, but I want to talk about the statement and obviously the assistant that's come in to replace him. and what that means and what the actual plan is, because I've spoken about all of these details before, but now we've actually got to the point where it actually means something. So Chelsea have announced that Graham Potter has departed the club. Graham has agreed to collaborate with the club to facilitate a smooth transition in his time with the club. Graham has taken us to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, where we will face Real Madrid. Chelsea would like to thank Graham for all of his efforts and contributions and wish him well for the future. That smooth transition is a key word. I don't know if that means the compensation is not going to be for the full entirety of his contract. We know that we signed him up to a 5-year deal back in September, 12 million a year, 60 million in total. Smooth transition tells me that it's not going to be, we have to pay out the full amount of money. Maybe there is a termination or exit clause. I don't know. I'm hoping that will get reported on as soon as possible. But Bruno, who came with him from Brighton, now takes charge as the interim head coach. Co-controlling owners Todd Bowie and Egbali said, on behalf of everyone at the club, we want to thank Graham sincerely for his contribution to Chelsea. We have had the highest degree of respect for Graham as a coach and as a person. He has always conducted himself with a professionalism and integrity, and we all are disappointed in this outcome. Along with our incredible fans, we will all be getting behind Bruno and the team as we focus on the rest of the season. We have 10 Premier League games remaining and the Champions League quarterfinal ahead. We will put every effort and commitment into every one of those games so that we can end the season on a high. The irony that the man that he brought with him, Bruno, and let me describe Bruno to you a little bit, right? Because I spoke to Ben from Seagulls, social Seagulls, right? A Brighton fan. When we first recruited Potter, I wanted to go through the entire staff, because we recruited their whole team. We took their whole recruitment staff. We took their coaches. We took their physios. We took their, we took their canteen man or lady. We took everybody. We took everything. I'm surprised we didn't leave with the Ferris wheel. To be honest, we took everything from Brighton. So apart from Matoma. So for me, Bruno is literally, he was born and bred in Brighton. This is a true Brighton, at its core. He is a Brighton almost, he's associated with that city more than Graham, if anything. So we actually, it meant quite a lot to the Brighton fans that Bruno actually left Brighton in the first place to join Potter at Chelsea. So the irony that he now is taking charge and he is now the interim head coach is insane. Honestly, it's actually gobsmacking. I didn't think this was actually going to be the case. I thought the entire staff would go at the same time, and maybe somebody more existing within the club who's been here before Graham would take charge. I thought all of his staff would walk out with him because we recruited them all at the same time. That doesn't seem to be the case. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, wow, what a statement. Definitely they'd be disappointed with the outcome for sure. Like I said, it is embarrassing. I think this is a learning curve for the ownership. Obviously they tried to make and I've been very, sympathetic to the fact that they've come in and they've had to make big decisions, and they're not going to get all of them right. This is one of them that they've got ridiculously wrong. And obviously it came at the expense of sacking an elite level manager, and I don't know who the replacement is going to be. And we have to talk about whether we want the replacement to be now, or we want the replacement to be in the summer. So I'm going to run a poll in the chat. Big up to everybody in the building, in the chat. I want to run a poll because I want to gauge with you guys whether or not you think it's wise to get an interim, get a full-time head coach right now, or wait until the summer. And the reason why I asked that question is because we still have the same existing issues regardless of who is in charge, right? We still have a massively bloated squad. We still have a lot of players on the roster that are not even able to make match day squads. So whoever comes in now is still going to have to deal with all of those issues. Do we want to potentially contaminate any new cell that enters the body with this absolute disease that is Chelsea Football Club? And think wisely about it. It's not an easy question because I know everybody's very impatient and they want to see a brand new shiny toy in through the door immediately. Very excited to see a new manager and excited for the future. You never know what's going to happen. This could be a new dynasty, rare-tear-tear. But if you bring in that new person and they suffer the same issues that Potter had, because it's not pretend that Potter's situation was completely perfect. He had a lot of issues to deal with during his time after the transfer window in January. things that most coaches don't want to deal with. You wouldn't even want to deal with these issues on Football Manager. Nobody on Football Manager craves having 35 players to deal with. You're going to get a lot of the you're going to get a lot of the sigh, you're going to get a lot of the annoyed, angry face emojis on FIFA career mode when you have too many players. You're going to get the emails. Can I play in this game against Real Madrid in the quarterfinal? No, you're 62 rated. Shut the fuck up. You're going to get a lot of that. And it's how it goes in real life. You get tension, you get problems, you get, people kind of going against you because they're not getting into match day squads. We just had a game where Ziyech, Aubameyang, these players didn't even make the match day squad. So that's the same issue that our new manager potentially will have to face. And do you want that to be somebody permanent, or do you want that to be somebody, interim to kind of just get through this and take us to preseason with hopefully a fresh start? The counter caveat to that is, like I said in my video this morning, even when we get to preseason with said new manager, and this is why this was the breaking point for me with Potter, the preseason people will not be perfect. It doesn't matter if it's a new manager. It doesn't matter if it was Potter. It doesn't matter if it's the interim. The preseason is going to be an absolute mess. We are actually having less players now than we will have on July the 1st, when Gusto comes in, when Nkuku comes in, when Callum Hudson-Odoi comes in, when Lukaku comes in, when Ampadu comes in, when Malang Sarr comes in, when Baba Rahman comes in. I want you to remember the sheer amount of some dross that is entering the building once again to come and do trials like High School Musical in the damn dance hall. You're about to see a whole heap of players in the summer. And it's going to be critical that all of these different technical sporting directors shift and move these players on ASAP, because we know exactly what happened last summer when we had to go to Charlotte and go to Vegas and go to San Francisco and wherever the hell else we went on this preseason tour. And Tuchel was struggling to, kind of decide which players he's taking and which players he's leaving behind. Billy Gilmore got left behind, etc. Marcus Alonso, who didn't even stay with us, ended up going. Batshuayi went. All of this shit. That is still real. That is still coming. We're going to probably have about 50 players, I calculated a couple of weeks ago, coming back in preseason. So make no mistake, it's going to be an absolute farce. It's going to be mad. It's cough blood in the chat. Trust me, cough blood, because you are about to see some names that you thought didn't even exist. You may as well even pretend Lucas Piazon is still here, because you're going to see some insane players coming back that you never thought you'd see. And I don't know how any manager is going to deal with that, but it's going to have to be a manager that is very ruthless, very cutthroat, very decisive, knows exactly what they want. And to maybe know exactly what you want, you're going to have to maybe be here from this current moment. So I'm even fluctuating between what I want at this point and whether I want them to come in now or come in later. If I was to draw to an example of Tiki and Manchester City, he came in before Pep came in. Obviously, Ten Hag was kind of lined up at Manchester United a few months before he arrived as well last season. So there is a protocol or a way of doing things where you can line up a manager ahead of time, get pre-agreements, pay Bayern Munich compensation if it is to be Nagelsmann, who I'm not completely convinced on and I'm not going to start doing propaganda for. But there, if you select someone, you can get that pre-agreement, pre-contract signed up, leave the interim for the rest of the season potentially, and start to lay down the foundations and have the conversations behind the scenes of who is getting chopped, who is getting changed, who is staying, who is going, without the manager actually have to be there in person to deal with those relationships. And I think that is, for me, probably one of the best ways of going about this is when you throw a manager straight in to the firing pot right now, say you bring a manager in, they have to talk to these people every day. They have to build these emotional, connections with these people. And then it becomes personal. And then it becomes, Aubameyang wearing Barcelona tops for El Clasico fixtures. And it becomes, people sulking and getting angry. If you remove that emotional, kind of middleman and you put an interim in place and you disconnect completely between manager, interim and squad, you provide yourself a buffer of somebody who's not going to be in charge, kind of like a Ragnick, you could say, a Ralph Ragnick, who's not going to be in charge. He has nothing to lose. He doesn't give a shit about your personal grievances towards them, and he can start to select and start to, decide who is going to be here, who is not, before the actual person comes in and has to actually face up to the music. So there's many different ways of going about this. So I don't want you to just go straight into, Enrique, Nagelsmann, Mourinho, whoever. Just, think about it. think about it for a sec and think about what this season actually means to you, how much you want to salvage, what is left. I still believe we can get top 6, which is probably ludicrous and delusional, but I'm going to look at the Premier League table again because I'm looking at it with rose-tinted glasses now that we have no manager. And we know no managers recently have been quite successful in the Premier League. Stellini, Southampton manager, caretaker, got 3 points at Stamford Bridge. When you don't have a real manager in place, you tend to pick up points. So I'm actually quite optimistic. I think we'll win our next game. I'm joking. But Chelsea currently in 11th on 38 points. 5 points off of Brighton in 6th on 43 points. There's a gap to Tottenham, Newcastle, Man United. Don't worry about them, man. All right? Just we don't talk to them a lot. They're in a different group chat. Focus on the group chat, which is Brighton, Brentford, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Fulham. Those are the 5 teams ahead of us. And we're 5 points off of 6th. Now, Brighton do have 2 games in hand. Everybody else is basically played same games, apart from Liverpool, 1 game in hand. So if Brighton were to go and do a madness, then it would look a bit peak. But we have to play them as well. Bear that in mind at Stamford Bridge, I believe. So it's still there for us. 10 games to go to the exact for us. 10 games, 28 games played. So it's still there for us. I'm not going to give up on that because I feel like once I give up on that, then my standards truly are on the floor. And I don't really want to go any lower than I've already gone. I feel dirty even talking about aspiring for 6th place after spending 600 million. So if I go any lower than this, you may as well just finish the whole thing off. Just forget the whole season because this is embarrassing as it is. So yeah, that's where my headspace is at. I'm gonna quickly check on the poll. I'm gonna go through your comments. Don't worry, I'm seeing all of your comments. Big up everybody in the chat. I'm just kind of just reading off my thoughts currently because this is kind of just hitting me fresh. I want to ask in the chat as well. What would you do? What would you do? Simple question. Would you hire a new manager ASAP or line up for the summer? I've explained the logic to both. It's not an easy decision regardless. So obviously Real Madrid in the quarterfinal is obviously there, for you to take a look at. If you really believe we can do something serious in the Champions League, that may sway your logic to thinking that we should go for someone right now. If you don't believe we can do anything, then obviously you've got a little bit more time on your hands. So I'm going to throw that poll up. If you're wondering where I stood with this whole situation, my video is already uploaded. Against Southampton, I asked him to please resign respectfully. He did not because I wasn't sure on the exit clauses and whether or not we could even afford to sack him. It seems like we can. And then obviously this morning I just said, you know what, just sack him, man. Respectfully, but just sack him because I can't be bothered. But I've wanted him to leave for a few weeks, but I do it with respect. I don't enjoy this. So, okay, let's see. So that poll's up now. I see people shouting about Jose Mourinho, the trilogy. Eunice will be proud. I'm sure he's going to put out a video very soon. I was going to do a video. I was sitting in my bed for about 2 minutes after I read the news and I thought, you know what? I genuinely cannot be asked to do a video because it's going to go very left. I'm not going to know what to say. I'm going to have to retake about 10 times and this is never going to get uploaded. So I just thought, much like the Mudryk breaking news when we signed Mudryk from Arsenal, I thought I may as well just go live and have the direct communication with you lot. So I've seen a lot of Jose Mourinho trilogy. I don't agree. I don't know if it's banter. There's a lot of rival fans in here probably. We're going to do a poll on what manager you guys would want. I think it's only right that I ask in a poll. It's going to be fun to see. But I want to go through some comments. Let me know, Chelsea fans in particular, how you're feeling on the sacking. Any emotion, any logic, whatever you want to put out there. I'm looking in the chat at the moment. This comment says pre-contract with Nagelsmann and F the rest of the season. Don't bring him into this mess right now. Let it settle down a bit and fresh start next season. Obviously, Nagelsmann shot to the top of everybody's wish list. Obviously, there's clear connections to Christopher Vavell, the sporting director. technical director, whatever he wants to call it. And of course, we're signing Christopher Nkunku from Leipzig as well in the summer. So that's another link. But I'll give my thoughts on that in a minute. I want to quickly just go through any breaking news. So Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley led the final decision. Sources say it was an exhausting process to find. Oh, sorry, not an exhausting process. An exhaustive process to find the next manager. Seems like they're tired as fuck. But yeah, they have made the final decision. So they're not leading with Christopher Vivell on that one. Those two are just behind Christopher Vivell in the hierarchy of technical and sporting directors. So an interesting situation. Telegraph Sport understands stunned and worried Chelsea players contacted their representatives on Sunday night, many having found out by the club statement. Not the most professional way to get it done, not exactly ideal. But yes, it seems that is the case. Matt Law has put that out as a bit of news. Chelsea do not have a successor lined up. Nagelsmann and Pochettino among the favourites. So also Nagelsmann was mentioned yesterday by Fabrizio Romano. You can tell my head is absolutely fried with this news. During yesterday internal Chelsea discussions, I don't really know how deep that is, considering Matt Law's kind of contradicted that. And even though he's been sacked, Chelsea is, Graham Potter's agreed to collaborate for a smooth transition. So it looks like there's not going to be too much drama on that side of things. That's the latest. We've seen the statement. We've seen the quotes. Bruno is in charge for the Liverpool game. I don't think we're going to have a new manager for the Liverpool game, if you want my estimation. So Bruno will be in charge for the Liverpool game. That game is on Tuesday. There's literally no time in between to even prep, let alone handle all of this. The players must be losing their minds right now. The players must be going insane. They don't know what's going on. It's just hit them like a ton of bricks, like it hit us. Absolute frantic behavior must be going on behind the scenes. So yeah, this seems like something that was there was meetings and they just said, you know what, just pull the trigger right now. Seems a bit impulsive, but at the same time, it's been looming, hasn't it? Because we know after Leeds and Dortmund that there were a lot of rumors that the pressure was mounting. And if he did not beat Dortmund, and if he did not beat Leeds, I think he would have been sacked then. So, he kind of fortunately got through those matches, then got through Leicester. But it was not enough. And to be honest, it wasn't convincing to put the entire Chelsea faithful back on his side. I think there were boos against Aston Villa at home, rightly so. One thing I will say is I don't feel like it's been as toxic as it has been for previous managers. And it doesn't feel like it's been, on the verge of some sort of, protest or any sort of madness. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't been like that, but it certainly been getting hotter. It's been getting hot days. It's been getting warmer, but it hasn't been that insane. I think fan pressure, how much fan pressure really was there, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's been a lot. And obviously I'm involved in the online community more so than obviously going to the games at the moment. Haven't gone to the games since last season, maybe the season before. But it doesn't feel too toxic. But maybe I'm wrong with that. Maybe I haven't got the temperature right. This super chat says, I knew Chelsea would sack Potter once he became, once Nagelsmann, I'm guessing you're saying, became available, especially since you guys hired the RB Leipzig backroom staff. So yeah, enjoy Jesse March. Nice little twist on the end of that super chat there. They've done it again. They've done it again. Chelsea, they've done it again. This is our heritage. This is our history. This is what we do. This is what we were born to do. All right. We were born to make headlines. We were born to be on the front and back pages on Monday mornings. We love chaos. We consume carnage. We do not do things in calm fashion. Okay. We don't do consistency. We do not do any of it. We only do a madness at all times. Honestly, new board, same vibe at the moment. Same vibe at the moment. So I'm going to run the poll. Let's see. I just want to see the results on this. It's 50-50. 1,200 votes. I asked the question, hire a new manager as soon as possible or line up one for the summer. And it's a 50-50 split in the voting. That tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? Really, really tough to decide. I'm going to actually end the poll there because that's enough. That's enough for me. I think that's enough. That's conclusive, right? 1.22K votes, pretty quick. We don't really need to wait any longer to understand that it's pretty damn split. My next question is interesting. Who should be the next manager? Now, when I made that Southampton video about him needing to resign, because like I said, I didn't think we could even afford to sack him. My selection at the time, because obviously Nagelsmann wasn't even available. Not that I'm saying I'm selecting him now. My selection at the time was Poch. Obviously, people have got Enrique, and I know that my choice wasn't really that popular. But I think all of these managers have got chinks in their armor. I would say, in my opinion, I don't think the manager market is that great. I think all of them come with a certain amount of risk and a certain lack of experience in certain areas. There's nobody that completely ticks all the boxes for me. And that's where I'm at right now, is that although I have maybe a preference, I'm not gung-ho. It's maybe because we obviously got rid of Tuchel, and I wouldn't say any of these guys are better than him, in my opinion. So we are still searching for that, elite level, maybe replacement. And it's going to be interesting to see what they go with as a board, because we know that we were linked with the Sporting Lisbon manager as well, who knocked out Arsenal in the Europa League there not so long ago. I'm going to go to Fabrizio's tweet. Do not worry, just right now. I see it. We've seen other names come up as well. More unknown quantities, young managers with not the biggest CVs, but have been kind of identified as the next big thing. We don't know if we're going to go with the elite level bait name, or we're going to go with somebody that we don't really know too well, or who's only just popped up on the scene in the last 6, 7, 8 months. What would comfort me is to go with someone very bait. Okay, go with someone I know, because we've already gone down the route of a little bit of a, next up and coming England manager. Graham Potter did a great season at Brighton, highest place finish, stepping up to the new level for the first time managing the pressure and the elite players, and it fucked up tremendously, as they say. So let's go back to maybe somebody we know. Doesn't have to be Simeone. It doesn't have to be anybody toxic. We don't need Conte. We don't need Simeone. Don't even really think we need Mourinho, as much as people don't want to hear it. I know they love Mourinho, but I don't want Mourinho. Want someone who's going to play to our strengths with the squad that we've tried to build in the January transfer window, which was with young players that need developing, good football, but also winning football, attractive attacking, maybe positional play, all of these things. But I wouldn't go to the suffer balls and the counter-attack. Well, not even the counter-attacks. Counter-attacking football is beautiful. What Simeone plays is not counter-attacking football. I think it's criminal. So yeah, I wouldn't go down the route of those guys, the Allegris, and please, no, I beg of you. I'd rather just be managerless. Do we have to compensate Bayern Munich for Nagelsmann? So great question. We do. Nagelsmann is still under contract with Bayern Munich. They have currently paying out 2 contracts at the same time to Tuchel and Nagelsmann. They said they had an agreement with Nagelsmann that when he left Bayern Munich, they would continue to pay him until he found employment. So instead of just paying him the complete lump sum of the rest of his contract, which is a contract I think that was expiring in 2026, they agreed that they will pay him up until the point of employment at another club. So he's currently being paid by Bayern Munich until he finds another club. If we are to be that club, we will have to pay a certain amount of compensation to Bayern Munich. That's the latest that I heard. Chelsea will win the EPL next season. In this super chat. Chat's absolutely flying, so apologies if I'm missing some messages. I'm seeing it all, but I can't read them all. Literally humanly impossible. Have you watched a Nagelsmann team and been convinced? I've seen, unfortunately, some of Nagelsmann's worst days. I've seen him get absolutely clapped up by Liverpool and Manchester United in European football, where the pearly gates were wide open sesame, just like Leipzig lost to Manchester City there a couple of weeks ago. The defending was atrocious. I've also read up on the Hoffenheim, escape from relegation to European football, the Leipzig qualification for the Champions League, obviously Bayern Munich exiting to Villarreal last season, and of course, this season as well, wasn't doing too badly, but up until Tuchel taking over, was second in the league behind Dortmund with that big game coming up just past on Saturday where they slapped him up 4-2. So it's a mixed bag. Then I hear on the personal side of things that he obviously had a couple of falling out with the Bayern Munich board, or maybe, they weren't happy that he went on holiday during the middle of a very high pressurized situation in the season where they were second to Dortmund. On top of that, the players seem to not completely agree with his methods or his strategies. I think it's very easy to lump him into this project manager type term because he's young. There's many young managers out there coming through the ranks that are not going to be project managers. They're just going to be managers that want to win immediately because that's the mentality that they have. And I think, listen, you can actually have both. I think the consensus that a project manager has to lose and has to finish 10th or 11th in their first couple of seasons for you to really buy into their methods. And then after that, you're going to shoot up. It's nonsensical. You can start off well, have a few rough patches after you've earned the trust and the loyalty of the supporters, and then you can come through that and go on to great success. So I don't think just because you're a project manager, you have to get off to a shit start, which is what Potter unfortunately got off to. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to put Nagelsmann in the project manager boat. I think that's just a bit lazy to do that. So I'm not going to do that just yet. Until I actually go through them projects and see if he actually managed them. So, okay. So yeah, I've seen some bad things, but I've seen some good things as well. I've seen some bad things, but he's very young, very highly rated. Real Madrid, I'm sure were maybe looking around. I think Real Madrid are probably looking in the same kind of boat that we've been looking in terms of Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Poch, because it looks like Ancelotti is going to leave at the end of the season. So we're kind of all shopping in the similar market. Spurs are trying to shop in a similar market. Who's going to let them know? Who's going to tell them? Yeah, enough said. So, so yeah, I think interesting situation. Maybe they'll want to get this done before Real Madrid get themselves involved. Who knows? But Luis Enrique will obviously not go to Real Madrid, will he? So loyalties to Barcelona. What's wrong with Allegri? A lot. I don't have time to get into it, but a lot is wrong for me. Maybe not for you. It depends on how you view football, but I personally don't want to go through it. I saw him playing Chiesa at wing back the other day, and then he threw up in my mouth and cried. So I decided that's not for me. I don't want to live that lifestyle. Okay, let me go through Fabrizio's quote. Well, Fabrizio's latest tweet. He has come to the table with that in the last 9 minutes. He understands that there has been already approaches for Nagelsmann to be the new Chelsea head coach. Talks will continue to make a final decision, but he is the favorite. No confirmation on Pochettino links at this stage. Nagelsmann mentioned in internal talks yesterday. He's kind of just reconfirming what he already said yesterday and obviously 36 minutes ago, which is that Nagelsmann is the favorite to replace Potter as the new Chelsea head coach, as reported yesterday. Nagelsmann was mentioned yesterday during internal discussions. Is this guy just copy and pasting his tweets? Yeah, listen, Fabrizio, you have 14.3 million followers. You do not need any more clout, brother. We hear you. You don't need to repeat yourself, okay? I saw the tweet already. Lord Jesus. You know what it is? Is that every time he tweets, everybody's, Fabrizio tweeted. I've read it already. I've already read it. He just said the same thing with different words and moved them around. This guy he's definitely moving mad. This stat pad is insane. Moving like Haaland against Leipzig, bro. Mad stat pad right now. This is insane. Pep's trying to take him off, and Fabrizio's trying to grab his phone and say, "No, I got more tweets." No, you don't, brother. You've already said the same thing 3 times this evening. I'm starting to think we need to put you in hospital, brother. Crazy. So Nagelsmann's been airing Levy's calls, waiting for this exact moment. I told y'all that's what Fuad has been saying on Twitter. Obviously, Tottenham were linked as well. Last time I checked on Nagelsmann, he's not really open to the Tottenham job. Those were the latest. I think he's looking at the Chelsea job, and rightly so, because he's not an idiot. So brilliant. Good to know that he's got his priorities in order. Okay, so rejoice. Law saying that the sacking was led by Winstanley and Bruno. The interim, it really be your own people. You can't trust anybody in this life. He literally came to Brighton with him. Good. I hope the knife dug deep into the butt. Whoa. There's no need for that. I know he put us through probably our worst stint in our recent history in terms of the statistic and the records and the defeats and the L's and the constant mockery and banter from rivals, but we didn't get relegated. We'll be back. I always said we'll be back. And I always said that our long-term future still is extremely promising, but the short-term pain is absolutely excruciating. And I hope it comes to an end very soon. But we still signed the same young players. We still have Enzo Fernandez. Life is still semi-good. People are mentioning Company. People are mentioning Carlo. I think Carlo is done with club football. Now, the last time Carlo spoke on quotes, he said that he wanted to stay at Real Madrid as long as they will have him. That was something that was put out, I think, last month. Now, Vinicius and Rodrigo at Real Madrid have kind of been flirting with the idea that he'll come to Brazil. I don't know what kind of tournament they're aiming for him to come to the Brazil national team, but that's been a running joke within the Real Madrid camp between those Brazilian players for quite some time. I think he either stays at Real Madrid and, like I said, he stays until Perez decides that he doesn't want him anymore. And then he goes to international and he's getting older. He's been in the game for a long, long time. He is one of my favorite coaches. I think he's extremely underrated. I would take him 100%. Look at the improvement that he brought to Vinicius as a young player. Look at the eyebrow that he raised against Manchester City to make the comeback in the Champions League. The pedigree, the respect, it comes with it. The guy is almost flawless. Almost flawless. So, yeah, 63 years old, though, been doing it for, 30 years? God knows, 30, in 25. He's been doing it for a long time, man. He's one of the GOATs. I don't think he's going to be looking for a project. I don't think he's going to be looking for a young squad that's not ready to win maybe now. I'm just making this assumption that he's coming towards the twilight end of his career and he hasn't got time to piss about at Chelsea with our crazy, nonsensical, ludicrous project. And that he probably just wants to just go to a national team, try and win a World Cup, finish it all off, and ride off into the sunset. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to either stay at Madrid or he's going to go to a national team. So I think you can take Ancelotti off the table completely. So that's that out of the way. Sorry to burst your bubble. Zidane, does he speak English? Last time I heard he doesn't, but I don't know if Zuzu's speaking English. The thing is with Zuzu is that his only managerial experience that I've seen is obviously at Real Madrid with elite level players. And I'm not here to discredit him. He did an incredible job, but he's never built shit. And he's never, he's never put together loads of young players with not the world-class level talent and kind of, grown them and earthed them and developed them. He's kind of had that Madrid team, that legendary status, gone in there, got himself tactically astute and gone and won what he needed to win. And that's why he's been very picky about his jobs. And I'm just here to say that Zidane ain't come in because he'd never choose us, okay? He's been very picky about his job since he left Real Madrid. I think he rejected PSG. I think the French job is the one that he was eyeing up for Deschamps. He's definitely not going to come to Chelsea. He didn't spend all this time pondering what job he'll go to after going to Real Madrid twice and then deciding to come to Chelsea in our worst situation in recent history. So you can just forget about Zidane. Not going to happen. He has no emotional connection to this club. He has an emotional connection to France, to maybe Juventus as well, Real Madrid, maybe PSG because it's the capital of France, but listen, he already rejected them anyway. So yeah, he ain't coming to London to come and deal with our shit. So rule that one out too. So that's why these names aren't even on the list. That's why these names have not even been reported or linked in the first place, because it's just not going to happen. There's no point discussing it. We are here to talk serious business tonight. We're not here to waffle. We're not here to talk about things that are not going to happen. All right. Sorry for your loss, bro. If you need anything, let me know. Turkish is a bad guy. Turkish is a bad guy. I'll see you tomorrow, brother. I got a pep in my step now. I'm free. Can we dead the process? This super chat says, chat for good now. Even Roman never sacked 2 coaches in 1 season. Bowie let Vavell and when Stanley cook and don't speak. Funnily enough, Bowie is not far from eclipsing Roman's managerial sacking outlay in terms of money spent on firing managers. He's already fired Tuchel. That was quite expensive because he was on high wages. I don't think his contract was too long, to be fair. And now he's fired Potter. Don't know what the finances of it are. And he's going to have to hire someone else. So he's actually spent quite a lot. You look at Roman and you go through his sackings. A lot of them were like Gus Hiddink twice, Avram Grant's, Villas Boas's, Scolari's. Or Scolari's probably on quite a lot. He won the World Cup with Brazil. But the point is not every single sacking was some sort of 10 million Conte contract. A lot of them were just minor little interims and, just built up over time. So the fact that Bowie's already on his way to trying to match him is quite some feat. And it shows that you know the club, the heritage, you understand the history of what we do. And I respect that, even though it completely contradicts everything that you wanted to do in the first place when you sacked my fucking manager, Thomas Tuchel. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm over it. All right. I'm over it. All right. Let's see what else is being said in this chat. Allardyce, get out of here with that shit. Can we talk? Oh, no, that's the one I've already read out. All right. Zidane has already said no to manage in England. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for calming everybody down and letting them know that this shit is never going to happen, so we don't waste our time on it. Yes, this manager's come up quite a lot. Like I said, the Sporting Lisbon manager's come up quite a lot. The funny thing about him, though, is nobody knows him too well, do they? I mean, I'm not going to claim to be an expert. I've only seen those two games really against Tottenham in the group stage and then obviously Arsenal in the Europa League. Brilliant performances, but I haven't been watching the Portuguese league all season, where they sit currently, I think, 4th. I'm not going to vouch for somebody I don't watch on a weekly, or at least I haven't seen for a long, extensive period of time. The days of, tribalism on Twitter when I was in my early days of content creation, making short videos and backing Lukaku to be the next R9 are long gone, ladies and gentlemen. If I don't know something, I'm just going to tell you I have no fucking clue. And that's how I'm going to keep it moving. So I have no idea about that, man. I just barely know how to spell his name. So, yeah. He looked good. He looked good when I saw him. But it's not enough to vouch. I will not be vouching. So, yeah. Stevie G, no. No. Right. So that's the current situation. What a situation it is, right? Insanity that this has actually happened tonight of all nights. Going into Monday morning, we have no manager. We've got an interim. No Poch or Zuzu, Julian or Enrique. I think Julian Nagelsmann is really, really, really high up on the list. I mean, he's clearly the favorite, and understandably so. I'm not convinced completely. I'm not going to lie to you, but if he comes in, I'll back him like I do with every manager, every player, and I'll be excited for the future. But we will have to temper our expectations a little bit, because it's his first time in the Premier League. He's a very young manager, and I'm sure he's going to need a little bit of time to adapt and acclimatize. Even Ten Hag was making some bonehead errors against Brentford, playing Eriksen in double pivots and shit earlier on in the season. So you're going to have to be able to stomach that and make sure you can handle that and hold that. Tim says, Joe's way. I'm an Arsenal fan. I need to see Prime Joe's back one more time. Start the campaign tomorrow on Big Six. More than you can believe. I will be there. Well, I'm not going to be doing that. If you want that campaign, you should have asked Eunice on the last show when I was away for my birthday. He is a big Jose Mourinho advocate to come back for the 3rd time. I am not. So you come to the wrong person, but unlucky. Really happy we got this done so we can give the new coach, probably Nagelsmann, a preseason, which is key. Yeah, I mean, preseason is key for anybody. It's going to be an absolute mess of a preseason. Just bear that in mind. But it is what it is. Our club is always a mess. When are we ever going to have a normal preseason, to be honest? Until we cut that squad completely and trim it down, and give it that 0 fade. I'm not talking about no little 0.5 or 1. I'm talking about bald, skin fade, yeah? Until we skin fade this squad, we ain't going anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Somebody just woke up and realized that we're now managerless. Well, welcome to the party, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you. Grab yourself a bottle and drink up, because we on the road to recovery, it seems. It's so weird that video I had to drop this morning. It just felt right. And I mean, like I said, I was already wanting him to leave respectfully or against Southampton, but they didn't want to pull the trigger then. So this is the results from the poll that I ran. Who should be the next manager? Enrique on 19%, Flick, who's unrealistic because he's the Germany coach, and I think he's staying for Euro 2024, which is hosted in Germany, on 14%. Nagelsmann on 54% for Nagelsmann. And Poch on 13%. So I'm going to end that poll. That's the poll. And yeah, it seems like Nagelsmann is definitely the favorite amongst the fans. And fair enough, understandably so. He is the one that is the favorite with the board as well. And listen, he's accomplished a lot in a very young career of his, right? He did what he did at Hoffenheim and Leipzig. I do hate the way that German teams defend. I've seen it with my own bare eyes yesterday with Bayern Munich versus Dortmund. The concept of defending seems to be completely out of the window. I'm sure he's going to come here and play the highest of lines he's ever seen. And how will we play that high line? And well, Fofana, we already know we drop about 5 to 10 meters back when there's no Fofana. So We'll rely upon him staying very, very, very consistently available to us. So yeah, when it comes to playing a high line, it sounds like a lot of fun, but it can lead to devastation, as Liverpool have found out many a times this season. So I would like to go with someone a bit more tactically flexible, but at the same time, I know a lot of people will want somebody now a little bit more rigid, because we've seen someone that's just come in who wanted to play a bundle of different formations. And I get that as well. You know, he played about 4 or 5 different formations. He didn't have a single front three consistency from game to game since the January transfer window. I think he only did the same front three twice in the Dortmund and Leeds games. Every other front three was chopped and changed. He made a lot of different weird substitutions. I get if people want someone more rigid and a little bit more my way or no way, you know, my way or no way kind of vibe, like an Enrique. Is the team ready to do that? It's going to take coaching. It's going to take training. We don't have much time. We play games quite often. I mean, we're in the Champions League. We're not in the Cups. Maybe we'll be able to get it done. But it seems like a preseason thing. If Enrique is coming in, you'd probably want to give him time to really work with the squad away from competitive fixtures. But hey, this is the game that we're in now. What do we do? That's the question. Okay, let's keep going through comments. Surely Gareth Southgate enters the building. Lord Jesus. Shed a tear for that comment. That really hurts. The fact that you would say something so mean. At a time like this, where we are literally questioning everything, you mentioned that man's name on my stream. Oy vey. That man shouldn't even be in a job. And this is what you do. Have shame, sir. Nishal, is it? Huh? All right. Avron Grant, Neil Warnock. Some of these names are appalling. I'm just going to ignore them. Unbelievable names that are being thrown at me here this evening. Have you lot no shame, honestly? If you want my prediction, it's going to be Nagelsmann. Not going to lie to you. I haven't seen stronger links to anybody else other than Nagelsmann. I don't think Nagelsmann's going to say no. I think Thabz already worked with him. I think it's literally lined up for him. And no surprise that it's him that they go to when obviously he's available now. Potter gets sacked. There could have been previous moments where Potter was sacked. He could have been sacked many a time already. He could have been sacked against Leeds. He could have been sacked before Dortmund. He could have been sacked after Southampton. That's when he should have probably been sacked, after Southampton. They didn't sack him. Maybe because they didn't have an alternative. They put out the PR machine, put out the bait and switch and said, listen, we're still backing you. We still believe in you. We still have plenty of confidence within you. They maybe didn't have a successor lined up. Now maybe they do, now that he's unemployed. Hey, listen, football is a humbler. So interesting situation. Okay, cool. I see you. I will bring back Miz in just a second. I just want to quickly kind of keep the stream on track a little bit. And finish off everything that we need to go through. So I want to check for any more updates as well. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be really, really interesting. De Zerbi, no one's mentioned him. The Brighton manager. Imagine if we were to go and get him. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Anybody thinking along those lines, or are we not doing that anymore? You know, because that's the new flavor of the month. That's the new guy on the scene that everybody wants to go for at the moment. I don't know, maybe not, but a couple of months ago, that was the guy that was being spoken about quite a lot. So I don't know where everybody's feelings are with that, but the audacity to even think that we could go in for him would be hilarious. With this Bruno guy, I have no idea about his coaching credibility and his history and how good he's going to be as an interim. Let's just hope that he does a good enough job. I don't know what's going to happen because he's been here the whole time alongside Potter. So it's not like as if this is some fresh person that we've never seen before. He's been here with the players. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's slightly uncomfortable, if I'm honest, that he is the interim manager. But yeah. And God, Lord, I'm seeing John Terry shouts. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I'm just reading them on the TL. Wow. Okay. So I think that's it from Chelsea in terms of any more announcements on that main account. Why did they choose to do this at this time as well? I was trying to relax. It's Sunday evening. The lack of respect, honestly. It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday. Can't just let us rest. Could have done this on a Monday morning. Do you know what? This probably suits me better because I would have been all over the shop on a Monday. So Yeah, mad. Okay. Let's talk. Yeah, some of these shouts are insane. Some of these shouts are insane. Okay. That really happened. Insane. Turkish has rang me. I didn't even realize. Hold on a second. I've received quite a few phone calls. I'm gonna go through them all. Bear with me. Just going through it in order. What's Turkish got to say about this? You're top of the league. Surely this has none of your concern, brother. Jesus. Well, what could you possibly have to say about this? Hey, brother, this is 11th place business. There's nothing to concern you, brother.
Aye, when you're mispronouncing my guy's name the way you've been mispronouncing it.
Zuzu, yeah? The guy that Toby tries to disrespect on a daily basis.
Bro, I can't believe he calls him Zuzu. It's Zizu, bro. It's Zizu.
Oh, God. He's not the guy anyway. He ain't coming in, bro. He ain't coming in.
Well, of course not if you fans are calling him Zuzu. No wonder he doesn't want to come to England, for fuck's sake.
Oh, Zuzu. It just rolls off the tongue, man. I'm not going to lie. That's one hell of a nickname. I might have to leave it with that.
You're lucky you called me back because I was going to hot you up on Big Six, but now we've spoken. It's all good.
Is that what he's calling me about? This guy is the biggest Zidane stan ever. You, right here. You're the biggest Zidane stan ever. You will not tolerate no disrespect to this man's name. Doesn't matter what it is. Bruv, Zuzu. Zuzu. Do you know what I'm saying? It slaps. I think it's actually even better. I think I've improved it, if anything. Yeah, some people are saying that. Listen, Nagelsmann, they've said it on the TL quite a bit. You know, he does go between a few formations. He's played a free. I think I remember him when he was managing at Leipzig and he went to Tottenham and he had like Konate and Upamecano and Ampadu was out on loan there. I think it's the same period. But I don't know, bro. What's your thoughts on Nagelsmann? Are you a Nagelsmann? Pro Nagelsmann?
Yeah, I don't think he's done enough for me to say, yeah, this guy's the guy to come in and do his thing. But to be honest, there ain't no managers that have proven themselves enough that's available. So,
I agree. Like Enrique's done a brilliant job at Barca. You know, with that MSN. Spain Euros was good. Spain World Cup not so good. Roma, Celta Vigo, meh. Flick only had Bayern after I think coming through the ranks, wasn't it? With the German national team in 2014 or something. There's nobody that's got like that long-standing, you know, level of pedigree to their name. Everything's a bit of a gamble, isn't it? It's just kind of picking the best gamble out of all of them. So
good luck finding the next Mikel Arteta, man.
That I can't believe those words have just come out of your mouth. Oh my god. That is just that's an atrocity. This is how you know this season's fucked. If you would have told me this time last year, that you'd be telling me good luck finding the next Mick Arteta, I would have thrown up on this very live stream because I would have never believed it. Lord Jesus.
Time is a healer, my brother. Time is a healer.
Yeah, football is a humbler. I hope you guys hope you man don't get too serious about that title charge. Make sure you drop a few points here and there for us. We got you coming up at the Emirates, you know. We might have something for you now. We'll see you soon. Oh my goodness. We might have something for you, brother. We might have something for you.
Obviously, you got your birthday wish.
Yeah. I did. I actually wished on this morning's stream that we would reach the 40-point mark. And to be honest, I think a change of management is probably the best way of getting it done. So yeah, 38 points. We moved, bro. Do you know what I mean? We're not far. We're not far from safety. Yeah, it's a madness. Oh, I'll chat to you soon, my brother. Big up. Oh, goodness. Still chasing them 40 points. No to Conte. No to Allegri. No to Mourinho. No to Diego Simeone. No to all of them. Every single day, 8 days a week, I say no to these lot. Okay? 8 days a week. They don't work with the current board. They don't work with the current crop of players, the young players. They don't work. It doesn't make any sense. So just no to every single one of those names. Just categorically, emphatically, ecstatically, bombastically, drastically, no. Okay? So don't ask, you don't have to ask me anymore. I've said it already. I'm not going to change my opinion. Give it Giggsy. All right, let's see what my brother Miz is saying from All You Can Eat Chelsea. Let's see what he's got to say. Doing a little bit of a call-in show. I might actually just ring order. Brother!
My brother!
You got your wish on the TL. We've survived.
We survived, bro. There is a God.
Oh my goodness. You know, I was just about to go for a nap, bro. I swear, my girl was like, "Oh, you're really tired. You've been up since 5:30 a.m. doing the Australian Grand Prix. You know, do you want to just go take a nap? You know, you've been working all day." I said, "Oh no, I can't nap. I'm just gonna wait." And then bang, 8 o'clock, sacked. Imagine if I was sleeping right now. I'd be furious.
Bro, tell your girl never ever recommend a nap.
Bro, you don't sleep. You stay awake if Chelsea are awake, you are awake. You know what I mean?
You are awake.
11, you can probably say maybe 12 o'clock midnight. That's when it's over. They're not going to say anything then. And then you need to be up by about 7, 8 a.m. You know, after that, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
100%, bro. It needed to happen. It was. You know, after yesterday's loss, there was no excuse. No more could have been done.
Funnily enough, bro, that wasn't his worst performance, though. You know, that wasn't his worst. His worst was Southampton. I think it was his worst performance.
Worst was Southampton. True. Yeah. But, you know, yet again, another loss. You know what I mean?
So exactly.
I'm glad, bro. I'm glad, man. Now we move forward, and hopefully we can salvage the rest of the season. Yeah. Somehow. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Who would you want to bring in?
Look, I wanted to bring in Luis Enrique, but look, Nagelsmann seems like the person that we're linked with. We're not remotely even linked with Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
Nagelsmann's a good manager. I don't think he's, you know, of the elite nature, but you know, he's done really well at Bayern Munich. He was flawless. Wins in the Champions League, 6 out of 6, 2 out of 2 in the groups in the round of 16 against PSG. But Nagelsmann, Matisse, he's a particular manager. Like when I've watched Bayern and his Leipzig, there's no, like, players are not going to be in their set places. He's another one of those managers that like to play possessional football, fluid. Anyone can be anywhere. Like sometimes you'll even see 3 centre backs and like 7 in attack.
Yeah, and that was one of the concerns that I saw when I watched Bayern Munich. They flooded so many people forward. And I don't know if maybe it's very specific to the way the Bundesliga operates defensively, and there's a lot more confidence if you're the better team that you're just going to just go blow for blow, kind of like boxing, punch for punch. But in the Premier League, if I see them mad high lines with some of our defenders like Koulibaly and, you know, committing all those bodies forward, we're going to get absolutely destroyed. So I don't know. I'm not completely convinced, but to be honest, it looks like it's going to be him, isn't it? So we're going to have to just buckle up and do as much research as possible. To be fair, he's achieved a lot at a very young age. Like he's been very successful. The one thing that is clear is he's been much more successul than Potter. And he's got some experience. Exactly. Champions League. At least he's got experience at an elite level club. But will he command the respect of the dressing room? You know, these things as well.
That's the other factor.
Yeah.
That's the other factor. Can he manage egos? Because players like Gnabry and Sane and Mane, they didn't really get along with him. Manuel Neuer didn't get along with him. Thomas Müller didn't get along with him.
Yeah. And I was discussing with the live chat here is that would you bring in the manager immediately, or would you do what Manchester City did with Pep with Tiki, which is get the sporting director to make the decision, whoever it is. So say it is Nagelsmann, but you line it up for the summer. And then as the months tick on, instead of having him directly working with that squad and trying to make those cuts and make those tough conversations and make them emotional conversations of you're not in this squad this week, you're not in the squad that week. Same with Man United with Ten Hag obviously coming in, kind of confirmed before the season end, and Rangnick had to get to the end. Would you kind of go down that road to kind of like stop him from almost coming into our cesspool of nonsense?
It's a difficult one, Matisse, because right now, what is our expectation? I mean, I don't know too much about this Bruno Saltor guy. I think he's the Bayern, he was one of the backroom staff that Graham Potter brought along with him. Yeah. I mean, if he looks after us till the end of the season, what can we really expect? I mean, to be honest, I really just expect the players to manage themselves now. These players have won Champions League before. We've got Enzo Fernandez won the World Cup as well. So I kind of expect them to kind of run the show now.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can buy someone and we'll get someone in the summer. But at the same time, can we get someone in now immediately and just salvage? We've got 10 Premier League games. You never know, Matisse, what can happen. Like, if we can just conjure some wins together, I don't know.
Top six is as good as it gets. Top six is as good as it gets. And that's a reach.
And that's a reach. And I'll take the top six right now. But even for that, you need someone to come in and actually win games.
Yeah. Big games against big teams at big stadiums. So...
Exactly. So can Bruno Saltor do that? I'm not really sure. And then there's the Champions League quarterfinals against Real Madrid. So yeah, as much as I want to wait and be patient, but at the same time, bro, Chelsea Football Club, there is no wait and patient. Like it's business.
Yeah.
It's business every day.
100%.
So we'll see, bro. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, bro, I'll chat to you soon. Our next All You Can Eat Chelsea is going to be quite the episode.
Yeah, it will be.
Bro. Never done. Care, yeah? See you soon, bro. Big up. Yeah, much love. Yeah, guys. I mean, it's. Do you know what? I haven't really spoken about Potter. I feel, weird, isn't it, that he's gone? I feel like my biggest problem with him in the end was he didn't really commit to one thing, and he seemed like a people pleaser. And I mean the players too much so. And I get it's a big squad and you kind of have to play the game, but he almost played the game far too well. And it actually took maybe the players, pushed the players the other way now, because some of the players seem to kind of, in the last couple of days after that Aston Villa defeat, some briefings and reports came out that they weren't really happy with the manager anymore. And it was the lowest level of confidence there's ever been. He never really committed to one thing. And this is what I talk about being decisive. And this is why pre-season I wouldn't be able to trust him. If Lukaku came back, God heavens, what would he do with him? What would be the decisions with some of the players coming back? What would be the decisions with a 50-man squad? Would he be able to be cut through and have those serious conversations of trimming the squad, or is he going to start pissing about and wasting some of the pre-season? You bring on Aubameyang against Tottenham, you ice him out. He goes to El Clasico, wears the Barca shirt. We have no striker on the bench, can't get goals. If you need points, you have a striker on the bench that can potentially win you points. If you're not looking for points and you're implementing style, you don't play the Ziyech's and the Pulisics maybe ahead of the Madueke's and the Mudryks. It's all over the shop, isn't it? It's a bit all over the place. Some of the decisions, some of the moves that he made in the end. He at one point started going to the players and saying, well, what do you guys think? Should we change formation? And then they all said, we should go back to the back three. That's what we're comfortable with. And that's where we made that decision to change back to the back three with the Dortmund, whole situation where he was on the cusp of being sacked, Leeds and Dortmund, and he changed back to the back three, went to the whole Gallagher coming off the bench and really results. And then he also had like a personality almost moment where he just kind of had almost like a crisis. Like he was all calm and giving us the same rhetoric after every single game, and everybody was getting angry about it because he was just repeating the same robotic stuff after every single match. And then for some reason he just randomly said, we're gonna fucking win the Champions League. And I said, mate, are you okay? Like, this doesn't seem like you have. And it felt like somebody had told him. And then he started talking like a manager that means business, and we need to win and we need to. And I'm like, this is weird. This is not what you were saying a couple of games ago. And it felt like it was almost he was advised and he was told, listen, the fans are not very happy with the way you're talking. You kind of need to turn it up a notch a bit. And then he started to talk that talk, right? And he put out some lovely little quotes and some nice swear words. And then against Villa, he went back to the whole XG and boys gave everything. So it's just so confusing. You didn't know one day if he was going to play this way, play that way, play on the counter at home to Manchester United and get absolutely dominated at Stamford Bridge. And luckily that we got a point, even though it was a last-minute equaliser to Casemiro. Are we meant to be playing on the front foot? Are we meant to be dominating possession? Are we meant to be playing aggressive attacking football vertic? Are we meant to be pressing? There's no press. Where's the press? Why are we not implementing the press? So many fucking things was going on. We didn't know what was trying to be implemented from one game to the next. And it just became a mess. And it's confusing for us. It's confusing for the players. It's confusing for him. It's confusing for the board. And you can only go to SofaScore so many times and say the XG was strong before you get caught. And that's exactly what's ended up happening. I wish managers could go out on loan, says Cedric. Brendan Rodgers, Potter swap deal with Leicester? Absolutely not. But I do like Brendan Rodgers, and I do think he's very disrespected. I think he did a really, really good job at Leicester, apart from the last 12 months. Won the FA Cup, knocked on the door for top 4. And for a club of Leicester's stature, that is a very, very damn good achievement indeed. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation. Do I know where Eunice is? I do not. Listen, this has caught a lot of people by surprise, I'm sure. It's literally 9:30 or 9:40 on a Sunday. But I'm sure he's recording, or, you know, if he's seen it, he'll be on it. So, you know, I don't know what the content creators are at. I literally was lying in my bed trying to mentally prepare to go and do roundabout. And next thing I know, he's gone. Insanity. Anita is delighted. I can tell you Anita is relieved. Many is relieved. Many is relieved. And now Hussam, who tried to sell me the Potter propaganda, is confused in the group chat as to how he's been sacked. So that Battle of the North episode is going to be insane. Julian is a yes man, and German Potter and Enrique is better? ? The trouble is with this whole yes man thing is that the ownership is the ownership. Todd Bowie is in charge, right? So we have to, in my opinion, with the managers that we go after and the managers that we look to attain, we do need to take into account the type of owner that we have. It's not a Roman Abramovich owner that is hands off, that goes onto his yacht and we don't see him or hear from him for a year and then he comes back. This is an owner that is very hands-on, that is very involved, that is very collaborative, that is very communicative, wants to communicate. And whether you like it or not, that is the owner, and that is the way he wishes to run the club and behind the scenes. And that's the working environment that he's used to from the Dodgers, and he's not going to change that. So you can complain about it and try and bring in his op and bring in a Conte or bring in a Mourinho, and then it all blow up, and then the inevitable happens. Or you can try and find a middle ground. You don't want a yes man. You don't want someone who's going to just follow orders. You don't want someone who's going to be influenced on lineups or whatever. Influenced by fans, fan demand or pressure. You don't want that. But you also want someone who can actually hold that kind of convo and handle that kind of situation, because otherwise it's not going to work. And then we're wasting our time. So yeah, whether you like it or not, you kind of have to handle it. And you kind of have to take that into account regardless, because that is the situation. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, in the end, for him, I don't know where he's going to go next in terms of a job. I don't think he's going to be coming back to this elite level for quite some time. It's really statistically the worst manager, I think, in our history, at least in our recent history. His win percentage was on the floor, and he didn't beat a single top 6 team, and only one win in the top 10. It doesn't really get much worse, to be honest. Hope we get a new manager bounce. It's deserved. So yeah, in terms of who comes in, like I said, it's probably going to be Nagelsmann. It could be maybe Enrique. It could be maybe Poch, who's been linked as well. These guys are more subsurface. They're not really the main guy. The favorite is clearly Nagelsmann, from what Fabrizio is saying. I'd be shocked if it wasn't Nagelsmann. To be honest, I really don't expect it to be anybody else. And what players are going to thrive from this? Well, what players are going to maybe have some sort of rejuvenation? I think Mason Mount, for starters, is still in the same predicament because his contract is not signed. That didn't have anything to do with Potter. I think Potter would have happily, willingly used Mason Mount a lot. I think he actually heavily used him at the start of his reign and his tenure before the contract situation became such an issue. So that doesn't change anything. I think Trevor Chalobah has been, for some reason, not involved at all under Graham Potter in recent months, especially in yesterday's lineup where it would have made sense to play him at right side centre back and move Reece James into right wing back. He just decided that he wasn't going to go for that, and he was going to play Reece James in a more limited position, maybe workload or workload for the injuries and whatnot. But even in the second half, he should have made that change at halftime because it was clear Ruben Loftus-Cheek wasn't providing anything going forward. But he refused to bring him on, refused to use him. So maybe he's got a little bit of a saving grace now. Aubameyang, I don't really feel like his situation's changed too much because I feel like that's more of a board thing. And I think it was a collaborative decision to not involve Aubameyang in certain squads. From what I saw in reports, it was Potter and the board that kind of decided, and he was left out of the Champions League squad as well. And I do believe that, again, this is a collaborative decision, not really some sort of like, you know, overriding leadership move by Potter where he's just going to take the reins and make all these decisions. I think it's all kind of collaborative and spoken amongst as a group. So you have to have a manager that's maybe willing to do that. But I think Todd Boehly now more than ever needs to step aside a little bit. I think this is a big learning curve for him and the board. He came in all guns blazing. He brought the money bags. He sacked everybody. Ditched the whole medical team, ditched the whole recruitment team, ditched everybody because he wanted to have a complete reshuffle and he wanted to make sure that the club was going to be run in the way he sees fit. And he didn't have the staff doing the jobs and the roles necessary for him to release the reins and hand it over to more, experts. Now he does. Now he's got Winstanley. Now he's got Christopher Vell. Now he's got the medical team, I hope. Now he's got all of these guys coming in. The new groundskeeper. The new, lawn mower. Brother, don't be so... Ugh, you know what I mean? Please step aside a little bit. Let the experts run it now. Let them handle business. Let the new manager work with the existing staff that you've set up, the network. Go and sort out that multi-club model that you were talking about, the stadium plans, all that kind of stuff, and let the thing rest now. Let the club function as a club, and not under some sort of weird sporting director, Todd Boehly, who was just kind of winging it and learning along the job. So Vavell is going to get Nagelsmann. I agree with you, Ames. And then let's see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? I'm excited, if that's the right word. I'm intrigued. I'm not going to even go too far beyond those two words. I'm just excited and intrigued, I guess. I'm relieved that there's change because I've been going through it. I'm not going to lie. So, and all of the Chelsea fans have. So yeah, it's nice to see that, that there's a little bit of a switch because we needed it badly. Havertz, he seemed to be a Potter favorite. He's getting a lot of game time. His future, obviously the whole Bayern Munich, conversations and quotes kind of blown out of proportion a little bit, but still didn't rule it out completely, which I'm not really surprised. German, biggest team in Germany. Tuchel's there now. Does Tuchel even want to work with him? That question has to be asked as well. It's not just about what Kai wants, but what his future lies, I don't know. So there's a lot up in the air. There's a lot of sales that needs to be done, and it needs to be pretty clear and cutthroat. We haven't got time to piss around. We don't have time to be, and ahhing who we're going to keep, who we're going to sell. We need to kind of know who we're keeping and who we're selling. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is panicking right now, says HM. Kepa, he's been starting. Mendy's been injured. All of these players that have been kind of playing frequently under Potter, there's not really anything to suggest that the new manager is gonna take a shine to you. One thing that I am curious to see, Christopher Vell came in for the January transfer window. I hope and I expect that his recruitment was in the line of, hopefully, if he is planning on appointing Nagelsmann, those players, and I mean every player, apart from maybe the 10 million Fofana who's going to go out on loan to a multi-club model and maybe make a profit on, right? That's the harsh reality. But the Mudriks, the Maduekes, I hope that those players were signed with the thinking that potentially it won't be Potter and it might be a Nagelsmann, considering you were the sporting director overseeing those transfers and you're meant to be building the club in terms of the signings. You're meant to be building in a certain way to fit a certain profile of manager, i.e. Nagelsmann, who you seem to be going after. If I see now that these players don't suit him and that we're selling players we just signed in January, that is poor planning and that is foolishness. Now, some people tell me Nagelsmann doesn't really play with wingers. He didn't really use Gnabry too much at Bayern Munich there in in this season. He's been using Coman, Sané, not really too much Gnabry, Sané kind of. So I don't know. I haven't been watching Bayern Munich consistently. I don't know what his go-to formation will be to start with, but I hope it involves some of the positions that we've just recruited in. If we don't play with wingers, then why did we sign 2 wingers on top of already having 3 wingers and another winger out on loan in Hudson-Odoi? So currently got about 5 or 6 wingers at the club. So I hope we are planning on playing with wingers. Where did Potter go wrong for you? Is Bowie panicking? I think he went wrong in quite a few things. Obviously, his nonchalant attitude to winning football matches was not one of my personal favorites. I think you need to come with the mindset that even if you're not ready to win, that you at least build up the persona and you kind of build up the pressure amongst the playing squad that we are here to win and we will try our best to win. And we not just say it like you actually mean it, and say it like there's actually consequences for not winning and there's accountability for not winning. If you just come with the whole, results happen and this can happen and things happen, and well, then shit will continue to happen and then we're going to continue to keep dropping points, and that's what happened. And it kind of builds this comfortable feeling in the squad where it's like, if we win, we win. If we don't win, we don't win. You know, it's just not that big of a deal. He's going to come and defend us anyway. He's not going to really say too much madness in the press, and we can keep it moving on to the next. And if that starts to seep into the squad over a longer period of time, you become shit and you become average. You become, what Liverpool were with Paul Konchesky at left back and, Stuart Downing and Denman. And you become what, Manchester United were last season in 7th. You become what Arsenal were in the early years of Arteta in 8th. Even though, to be honest, Arteta never spoke the way Potter spoke. And that's why I didn't really like the comparisons between Potter and Arteta. Because one, Arteta never had a win percentage that shit. And he never spoke in a way of nonchalant, whatever happens, happens. That's life. We don't want to hear that. And the players don't need to hear that either, because they're probably listening to the presser. So, yeah, the whole just whatever happens, happens kind of vibe, I didn't really like that, because you're at Chelsea. You're not at a club where whatever happens, happens. If something happens here and it's whatever, you're finished. So, yeah. I think he may go back to his formation of 3-4-3 he used to implement at RB Leipzig. Plus, since Nkunku is coming next season, it does seem like a perfect match. That is another really important point for sure. Is the fact that Nkunku's coming in, and that's huge. That really is huge. So yeah, we don't underplay that. But like I said, he's going to have to do more than just get along with Christopher Vavell and Nkunku. He's going to have to manage everything. So hopefully he's ready for that, because it's a lot to take on for such a young coach. How old is Nagelsmann? This will probably be the youngest coach I've ever seen manage our club, because he's really young, isn't he? How old is he? He's 39. 35. He's 35. Guys, he's younger than Thiago Silva. He's younger than Thiago Silva. He is going to be putting out a player on the pitch who's older than him. He's so young. He was the youngest ever manager, I think, to reach a semi-final of the Champions League with Leipzig. He set so many records along the way for the youngest this, the youngest that, the youngest this, the youngest that. He has been around for a decent amount of time, since his late 20s, and it's nuts. He's only 35. This is nuts. Do you know how young this? Bruh, this is insane. A manager at our club, 35 years old. I hope that doesn't. Hope that's not an issue for the playing squad. But yeah, that's an interesting dynamic for sure. Very, very, yeah. And AVB was very young as well. Exactly. So hopefully he has the aura. He's very, very young. Very young. Aubameyang, all of these guys only, one of the stupid reports that came out is that Bayern Munich Chiefs didn't like the fact that he was coming in on a skateboard, and they feel like the players needed more of a dad vibe, not a brother vibe. Now that was ludicrous shit that I heard, and that was hilarious. I hope it was a meme. But him being the similar age as some of those older players, it's fine if the player is professional, but if the player has elements of taking the piss or trying to see what they can get away with, or just trying to be a little bit of a cheeky bastard, somebody your own age talking to you, it's how it goes. It's not easy. It's not easy to take orders from someone that's your age. You tend to look to your elders and the more experienced, and you're more likely to take orders from them. So him being 35 is definitely an interesting one. Maybe it's more problematic than I'm saying. Maybe it's less problematic. I'm just mentioning it because I feel like it's an important factor. My thing is that if you have a young coach, you better have a very young squad. That's an absolute no-brainer, right? And I think he suits that. You need to have a young squad. Arteta's a young manager, young squad. Lampard, when he came in, was a young manager, young squad. There's plenty of examples that keep going across the board. If you've got a young manager, you need a very young squad. Just to keep it, keep that age gap there. Obviously, you're gonna have a few senior heads here and there that you can rely upon and trust. But on the whole, the average age of the squad needs to be quite young for me. Is that why you listen to me so much? Yes, Grizz. Grizz, I don't remember if you were telling me that Potter was going to work out or not. I will ask these questions tomorrow, sir. There's I've a lot of questions for a lot of people, especially Saeed, who told me that Tommy Tuchel. And yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be very fun. You better watch out, because you guys have been playing games with me this whole season. I feel like you have to take some accountability as a cast for what you've done to my football club. Some of the games that you lot have been playing. You guys told me everything was going to be all good. Honky dory. Give it time. He's going to work out. Motherfucker lost to Aston Villa. Motherfucker put us in 11th. Put us in the bottom half. Have me out here saying that we're top of page 2. Like I'm on Google search. God damn. God damn. You must. Bring your explanations for what this nonsense that is upon us. So, yeah, insane. All right. Let's see. So, still in shock. Didn't think this was actually gonna happen tonight, but here we are. Let me just see if there's any more news kind of floating around. Todd Bowie believes Chelsea can win the Champions League, and the situation changed after he held talks with Potter today. Chelsea players are absolutely gobsmacked. Said shocked, but I wanted to say gobsmacked. Graham Potter could join Leicester. That is from TalkSport. Graham Potter at Leicester makes a hell of a lot of sense. It feels like the kind of level that he should go back to. And they've got a decent team. They could probably do with a rebuild. And yeah, what an interesting situation that will be. AC Milan 1-0 up against Napoli, from what I can see, with Rafael Leao at the goal there. I was going to cover that game. Thank God I didn't, because look at the madness that is upon us. Imagine being mid-watch along and then this happens. Bomba. God is watching. All right. Okay. So that's the latest on that. If he goes to Leicester, that's a mad move, but I think that makes sense. The hierarchy was taken aback by the level of anger fans expressed when things go. I'm not sure that last word has been spelt incorrectly. I didn't really feel like I could feel the anger through the TV as much as I thought I would hear it. I thought I would hear, like, I know people were booing, but it wasn't getting toxic, in my opinion. That wasn't toxic. If you think that's toxic, it can get a hell of a lot worse than that. Look at the PSG ultras outside the training ground. So I think he got away quite lightly in that side of things. Now, of course, the emails and all of the nonsense and bullshit there with death threats, that was a whole nother level of fuckery. But yeah, those people, just don't even associate yourselves with our football club. What a disgrace you are. Chelsea players genuinely enjoyed the technical coaching. Many of the players had names for the manager based on his wizard namesake. Some players even had to search up who he was when he was named Chelsea manager. It's all coming out now. That's from the lead reporter at the Independent. Yeah, it's all going to come out now. Loads of reports. You remember this? We do this every time. We've done it. We know what we do this. We do this every time, guys. Yeah, you know where we're at. We did this with Tuchel. We did this with Lampard. We do this with Sarri. As soon as somebody gets sacked, all the reports dropped. All of the information behind the scenes, what happened, what really went down. Potter flushed somebody's shit down the toilet. Oh my days, I hate this. Brother, it will all come out. Everything. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, just can't be asked. Can't be asked. Random stories that come out of nowhere. Potter had a bust up with Lucas Piazon on a Wednesday evening at Cobham, even though he doesn't play for our club anymore. You know, it will all come out now. These stories will get more creative by the day. I can't wait to hear all the madness that's been happening at Chelsea, because you're not going to hear about it when he's there. You have to wait for him to be sacked before that comes out. The more things change, the more things stay the same. What a hell of a line that is. Quality. Oh, goodness me. All right. A lot of people telling me that we need to get Jose. We're still doing that, right? Okay. So, what a day. What a day. Still trying to come to terms with everything, to be honest. I am just letting it all marinate in my brain, trying to think about how I'm going to approach tomorrow. I'm glad that I don't have to go on a parade and a tour of, I want the manager to be sacked. I don't, because I don't enjoy it. Like I said, I don't get a kick out of it. I don't enjoy explaining why I want him to be sacked. I'm glad that it's just done so we can all move on. I hate, oh, are you in? Are you out? Are you in? Are you... That conversation has got to be one of the most mind-numbing, brain damaging conversations ever. It's like, it hurts my soul to even hear it. Whenever that question is phrased to me, I just want to just honestly disappear. Because it's just boring and it's so black and white and it's so basic, and it's like the conversation is so much deeper and so much more. There's so much more to it than just, are you in or out? So glad now it's done and I don't have to go on a tour of talking about it, because frankly bored of it by now, and just wanted it all to end. So buzzing, absolutely buzzing with that on that side of things. So yeah. Cheap is expensive. Okay, let's see. What else is being said? Frank Lampard, interim. Matt Law is going to do a madness. Matt Law is going to come out with a thesis, a Harry Potter book, pardon the pun. He's going to come out with the biggest article you've ever seen in your life, and he's going to have everything in it, from what Kepa had for breakfast to what Potter did on a Tuesday night in the comfort of his own home, where he probably put telegraph cameras in the flat. Like, he's going to give you every little bit of juice you could ever need. And I will be there no matter what. But it's insane that it always takes a sacking before we actually hear all of it. And he was starting to turn a little bit. He's an Aston Villa fan, and he just beat us, but he was starting to turn a little bit at the end. And he was saying all of the things that had gone wrong and all of the mistakes that had been made. And, you know, Mudryk should never have started and all of these things. So I don't know. I don't get Matt Law. Maybe one day I need to interview him, but he's an Aston Villa fan who seems to have a real big connection with Chelsea. I know he reports on us, but there seems to be some sort of emotional attachment. And I don't know why. But yeah, one day maybe we'll find out. It's a strange one. So there you go. Oh, goodness me. Absolutely insanity. So yeah, I mean, it was 50-50 in the poll in terms of what do we do? What do we do in terms of, you know, do we bring someone in now or do we bring someone in the summer? If it was me, I don't know. I'd probably prefer to know that he's coming in the summer and kind of just try and do as much clearing and cleaning before he gets here as possible, because I just don't want anybody to be contaminated by the mess that we've got here, because it is a serious mess. Are you Bowie in or Bowie out, or are you fence sitting? I'm in, Bowie in. Not happy with all of his decisions, but he's put in, his heart is in the right place. He's putting in the work. You know, that guy was traveling to Barcelona to do meetings with Laporta for players that he never signed, going for wonderful meals, traveling all over the world, trying to do deals that he's never done before, trying to do swap deals like this is the American sports. Found out in a harsh way that was never going to happen, wasted a lot of his time. But he really put the work in. You know, he didn't just come in like maybe a Glazer and neglect us and go and piss off to LA and let everybody else handle it. He really got his hands dirty and he got stuck in. And I respect it. He got a lot wrong, got quite a few things wrong, but he tried, you know. And effort and communication is the first thing that anybody looks for in an owner. Obviously, money. He has money. He spent a lot of money. Effort. The effort is there. And the communication. The guy is all over the place. He's in Twitter Spaces. So, yeah, I think once you got those three things, obviously now it's all about getting the decisions right and actually making sure that, you know, you make the correct decisions going forward. You've had your period of piss up. You've had your piss up period. You've made some errors along the way. It's understandable. It happens. Going forward now, with all of these intelligent experts that you've hired, I'm not expecting to see the same mistakes happening again and again. I'm expecting to see calm, collective, composure, decisions, make sense, winning stuff, not dwindling in 11th and wondering if I'm going to be in a relegation battle. So, yeah, you know, we learn and we move. That's really it. There's nothing really more to go on about, to be honest. Obviously, first of all, big up your damn selves. Really appreciate you guys joining. Didn't even really give you any notice. Obviously, it just broke and I just set up the stream and went straight away live. So I appreciate all of you guys in here. Smash up the likes. We're almost at 1,000 likes. I will be back tomorrow with my actual plan of content, but I guess I'm going to have to tweak it a little bit now, considering what's happened. We'll be talking more about this tomorrow. There's going to be loads of news. London Clubs Carnage will be tomorrow. Battle of the North will be tomorrow. I will try and do the roundabout, although I was meant to be recording it now, and this broke, so I don't know. Obviously, Big Six, DR, I'll be all over the place. So we're going to have lots of content, lots more talking to be done. Sorry, Jackson, if I've missed your super chat. Let me scroll up and try and find it before we head out. Lots more discussion on this, but I guess for now, there's not really too much more I can say on the matter until, I guess, they're going to hire Nagelsmann, aren't they? And then we go from there. Let me see if I can try and find your super chat, brother, before I head out. Apologies. Chat's just been flying today. Lots of rival fans in here telling me that we should bring in that Sam Allardyce. And your super chat may have got lost in the chaos. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Oh, hold on a second. Nope, haven't seen it there. Let's see. But yeah, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. The chaos continues at this club. Lots of stuff coming. New manager now coming in. We're gonna have to do videos, going back on what they've done in their previous lines of work. Oh, there we go. I feel Nagelsmann UCL revenge win 2021 style. Obviously, Nagelsmann maybe versus Tuchel if we can get past Madrid. Who knows? If he was to come in straight away. This club is a mess, starting to distrust ownership. This is a bad day for ownership. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely a bad day for ownership, and they have a lot to answer for, and they need to kind of come out and kind of realign their plan and kind of really face the music a little bit, because they have made a giant fuck up, and this is very embarrassing. I'm not giving up on them. No way. It's too early for that for me. Obviously, there's lots of time to redeem themselves. If they get this appointment right, we go on to win things, and the young players they purchased flourish, then all will be forgiven. But it's been a little bit of a messy start, and they need to calm the hell down now and get back on the right track, because, like I said, this is very embarrassing that you've had to sack this man literally in the same season you hired him. And I don't really think I've ever seen it before at my club. For all of the sackings, I don't think I've seen us do this before. So, yeah, we need to fix up on that regard. Apologies, brother. I can't find it as much as I've scrolled up like a madman. I cannot see anything up there. But yeah, Bella Silva will be buzzing. To end on that note, Thiago Silva's wife, she will be absolutely buzzing with this news. She has been suffering more than most. So yeah, he 100% needed to be sacked. His position was untenable. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Much appreciated. So that was the comment you left. So yeah, smash up the like, subscribe. Lots of content coming now. More than you can believe. More content than I had planned, because obviously this is happening. So yeah, we're really doing this again, like we used to. Old times. Wow. Mighty Chelsea. Never boring. In a bit, people. Peace. Perfect.